Hey everybody, I'm David with Bolivar Live, and I'm here with Chandra, actually with Aran and Franklin. But today we've been doing some shows on TWIA, and we haven't done any in a while, and it's time to do them again because uh, you're going to see this on Friday, and actually on Tuesday, Chandra, y'all have your quarterly meeting, and there's a big debate going on. There's been a lot of talk on social media. It's time to vote on rate increases for TWIA. And you and I were talking beforehand. Let's talk about first what's the most you've spent and what you have, to let people know on the biggest disaster so far what you've spent, and then what you have in reserves right now.
Right. So the way the TWIA funding works is that we have catastrophe reserve funds. That's like our bank account. So every year when we have excess money, we put it in catastrophe reserve, and we have almost half a billion in there. So 400 something million. So that's our kind of our piggy bank. That's where we're starting to pay claims from. Right now we have about 25,000 claims that have been filed from Beryl, and we'll probably go through most of what's in catastrophe reserve, but I don't know that we're going to go the next tier of funding. The next tier of funding after that is the Class 1 public securities, which is 500 million, and then we go to a $500 million Class 1 assessments. So there's fund, and then it goes from there. And then the last tier is reinsurance, which we voted on in February. And the reinsurance, that number got really big, and that's what's kind of driving this premium, the feel that we need to have more premium. We increased the number of policies that we took over because a lot of people came out of the private market and got pushed into the TWIA. We also got the value of homes has gone up. So the dollar value of what we're insuring went up as well. So, but that's kind of also offset by every year, everybody, even if we don't take a rate increase, if we take a zero rate increase like we did last year, you're still going to feel a rate increase because we have an increase, a rider that increases your cost every year based on the assessed value. So this year it's 13% is the average. So some people are going to get less, some going to get more, but everybody's going to go up based on their increased value of their home. So every year, TWIA is getting more money to cover what we have, even if we don't take a rate increase. And when we had the actual underwriting committee meeting, when we were looking at the chart that they presented about, when we took rate increases and what that actuarial adequacy number looked like, we didn't really see the needle move very much. In the years we took rate increases, it might have gone down a little bit, but it didn't stay down. So, we've always hovered in that 20 to 45% non-adequacy. But when we look at what the storm events look like, Harvey, Ike, those were the big ones. We weren't even close to a few $billion, and we're insuring now, our PML is 6.5 billion. I mean, that's what we're insuring to. And that's why we had such a big gap to make up for the reinsurance. And our reinsurance premium was almost $300 million. And so, part of the problem is we don't get a lot of guidance on how to set that PML. It's based on the policies that we have, what we have to insure, and what little bit of guidance we've been given from the legislature and from TDI. But we have to decide every year, how much are we going to buy? What do we have in the bank? What are our tiers of funding that cover that? And then how much reinsurance are we going to have to buy? And so that number just keeps going up and up and up on reinsurance. And it's a really hard insurance market, and it's not favorable for us because we have had storms in the last, 7-8 years. So we're not getting favorable terms, and then our policy count's going way up. So we have more risk, and they're like, ooh, we don't like that either. So we're having to pay a lot for that reinsurance. And so so I see, expenses are going up, but premiums also going up, and policy counts going up, and everything's going up. But, personally, the way I'm going to be voting is I'm going to be voting against the 10% increase that they've recommended. I feel like based on the fact that everybody's already paying more that they're getting additional premium, and that should be sufficient. I mean, our budget is balanced. We hit our budget numbers every year, and we're good. Um, Kudos to the TWIA staff for really watching those numbers. The financial VP does a great job of that, as well as the general manager. So that's kind of part of our duties, but we have plenty of money, as far as adequacy. Like right now we have 6.5 billion of coverage. We would have to have like 2 more major storms on top of Beryl this year to like even, to go through all that funding. So
that would take something like, Harvey.
Super catastrophic. I mean, it could hit a really populated area and do a lot of damage, and that can happen for sure. But it would take a lot to have a really devastating storm or multiple devastating storms in 1 year to blow through all that coverage.
Right.
The biggest problem is that we really need to get our legislators on board and changing that funding structure and sharing this burden with the whole state. We're stuck writing and being responsible for all these properties, but if we didn't have the area, we would not have tourism, we would not have fishing, we would not have the shipping. We would have a huge.
We bring a lot to the rest of the
oil and gas. Like we would have a huge impact on our infrastructure, for the whole state. So if people can't afford to live here and work here, they're not going to. And then what do we do? So we have to make it practical for us to be able to have, because our GDP for Texas, like the majority of it is along this first tier, like 25%, I think, is on that first tier coastal area, and it all feeds into, and then of course the Houston region and all that, and it all feeds into the rest of the state. So we have to be able to protect, these assets and these people that work here and provide that GDP for the whole state. So, I know some of the legislators have been kind of reaching out and asking for everyone to, either attend the meeting, listen to it on Zoom. It's in Galveston at the Tremont, so feel free to come by. There's always plenty of seating, coffee. Come and hang out, listen to it. We are doing, normally our meeting is structured a little differently, but we decided to take all of our public comment first, which we always do, and then we're going to do our rate vote first. So that way we can get everybody's public comment and then the rate vote, and then that way y'all don't have to listen to the rest of the boring business, but unless you want to. But that's what everybody's coming for. And it used to be later in the meeting, and I was like, let's bump that up and let everybody just get that out of the way, and they can go about their day. So we're going to have that done early, and I would guess probably by 10:30 in the morning we'll have a vote.
If people want to watch it online, how can they watch it online through Zoom or something?
Yeah, so TWIA has a link to their meetings, and it's a live YouTube link or a Zoom link. And so if you want to just watch it, you can watch it on YouTube. But if you want to be able to make a public comment, you have to be logged in through Zoom, and you can do the hand raise thing where you can make, they'll put you on the list to be to have a public comment. But the other thing is that this isn't just a simple majority vote. You have to have a 2/3 majority. So 6 of the 9 board members have to vote for the rate increase in order for it to be implemented. They legislatively made that change in the last session. And so last year we had a majority, but it was not a 6-9 majority. Right. So it did not pass. This year, I would imagine the breakdown's probably going to be pretty similar, unless somebody's really had a change of heart, because typically the same people kind of vote the same way. And we do have some new members, so I'm not really familiar with how they're going to vote or what their thought process is yet. But likely it will be pretty much the same thing. It might be, 5-4, even though it may be a majority, it still may not be enough to push the rate vote.
Right.
So.
Well, just so everyone knows, what we're planning on doing is the meeting's next Tuesday, which is August 6th. And then we have another show on the 8th or the 9th, which is Friday. And so we're going to record a show or do a show for Friday morning talking about what happened at the meeting and stuff. Now that we've got the basics of it, you can, go online. There's time to go online and get signed up either to watch it or to speak at it. You can still send letters off and emails with your opinions and that. But
Absolutely.
Chandra,
Yeah,
thanks for joining us today.
yes, of course.
How much?
I can say one more. Can I say
Uh-huh.
one more thing? So I've been on TWIA board since 2015, and I have a term limit. My term limit is up in October, so I will be coming off the board along with 3 other members. So 4 board members are going to be coming off this October.
Okay.
And we really need people that have an interest in supporting the coast and, being an advocate for the coastal representation to apply to Texas Department of Insurance to the commissioner and want to be a representative on the TWIA board. So if there's anyone that's interested, please reach out, because after I leave, the dynamic of the board, because there's 4 of us leaving, the dynamic of the board is going to change a lot.
Going to completely change.
Yeah. So we're going to have that,
coastal ties.
Coastal representation. Yes, definitely. Yeah. So just put that little bug out there too.
Real quick, Burl came through. I think it was a little stronger for us here on Bolivar than we thought it was going to be. I think if it was 25 miles further east, we would have got the tornadoes and stuff that they got on the west end. Could have been on Bolivar Peninsula, so we were blessed there. At one point when I was out driving in it at 6:30 in the morning, I was actually wondering, what the hell am I doing out here?
It seemed a lot stronger than they were saying it was to me. I mean, even inland, I live inland about 20 miles, and it seemed, I was like, this is not 60-mile-an-hour winds. This does not feel like, tropical force winds. It feels very much like a 2 to me, but
how was the response? Have y'all been going out looking at structures and stuff a lot just for Aran and Franklin?
Yeah, we have actually, because we're required to go back and reassess after a storm to make sure that there's no damage, because that damage has to be repaired in order to move on. And so we've had to go out and do a lot of reassessments of structures. And good news is, I mean, we've seen a lot of shingle lifts, ridge caps, things like that, just those high, wind areas that are really hard to hold down. And we've seen, some seals broken on windows, things like that, where you've got that cloudiness, that fogginess, because that window's under so much stress that sometimes it breaks those seals on the inside. So if you see cloudiness, fogginess in your windows, you probably need to have your window replaced.
Well, like I told you, at one point, me trying to get in and out of my front door at my office, it was all I could do to open it. When you've got 60, 65-mile-an-hour winds going against that, and down here, we had a lot of wind-driven rain under doors, around windows. And so, well, knock on wood, hopefully we don't have to worry about that. I bought a Kessler wind gauge, handheld professional wind gauge, but it didn't come in until the Wednesday. It was supposed to have come in the Monday before.
Yes.
But it didn't come in until the Wednesday after the storm.
Oh, wow.
And it's just in the box. I haven't touched it. I haven't turned it on, undone the battery, because I figure if I don't need it, we're better off.
Right? You're like, I don't want to know.
It's still in the box. I haven't even pulled the tab off the battery that activates it. I'm just going to let it sit there, and hopefully I don't need it the rest of the year. And if I don't use it, that's $700 that I just invested in something for down the road. So.
Yeah, we have had, I mean, they're predicting it's going to be an active storm season. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be active for us. So hopefully we've already gotten ours out of the way.
Our test run,
That's right. But I think everybody's more prepared now, because I think
we had a lot of new people down here, and we did coverage from Sunday when everyone, we were coming off of 4th of July weekend, and so traffic was backed up for 20 miles probably getting out of here. But we had a lot of new homeowners down here over the last 3 years, because we really, since Laura, we really haven't had anything come close or anything.
Right.
And the amount of people that came up to me afterwards that sent me thank yous and that, because we don't have any news coverage down here, and
Right. Yeah.
they didn't know what to expect. And I had some people that were calling me tripping out, and some people that probably should have paid a little more attention that really got caught,
Right.
But you just don't understand it. And like at one point here, 87 was blocked and the ferry was down. So if you're here, you're stuck. There ain't no getting off. Helicopters can't fly. EMS can't do anything. All we can do is hunker down. And so I think it raised some awareness to some new people down here.
Yeah, and I think, in May, we normally do, that's Hurricane Preparedness Month. And so in May, we try to put a lot of, we try to put a lot of information out related to being prepared for hurricanes and what that looks like. And because we don't want people to get caught, and just thinking of the basic stuff about, do I have medication, dog food, what's my plan? Where am I going to go? Just thinking through all those logistics. But Bolivar is kind of unique because of those exact things you just mentioned.
Yep.
You've got one way in and one way out on a road, and then you've got the ferry, and if that's down and there's water over the road, like you're an island.
You're there.
Point. So you really have to think about logistically, like how can I self-sustain or how can I get out early and make those decisions that's best for you and your family. I mean, yeah, it was a one and it wasn't that bad, but it's only that bad if it doesn't affect you. We had like more inland. The biggest problem that we had was trees down. I mean, I have never seen this many trees down after a hurricane.
Yeah.
We had huge, big trees falling on houses, falling on garages, falling on cars,
We've had a wet year too.
Yeah, and it's been great. And see, last year was super, super dry, right? And so this year it's super, super wet. And so the soil's it got super dried out and then it got hypersaturated and all these trees just laid over.
Yeah.
So it's been really tough with the trees. And then we had the power issues because of all the trees down and everything. So we finally kind of got most of that behind us, thank goodness. But you really have to think, where am I and what are my hazards around me? What are the things that could potentially, damage my home? What things do I have to be prepared for? Is it flooding? Is it power outage? What things do I really have to be prepared for? And do that early. And it's still not too late to do that. I mean, like you said, we still have a lot of hurricane season left. Hurricane season doesn't end until November 30th. So we still have a lot of hurricane season left to go. Fortunately, we're kind of in the strongest part right now, August, and it'll get worse probably through about mid-September, and then it'll kind of start, dying down. So like 6 weeks or so, we're still kind of in the throes of it, but so it's not too late to get prepared. But I think we had that test run, and I think it woke a lot of people up.
Yeah. So, well, we'll be back next week with the information on the TWIA meeting, going over any changes on anything, how the vote went, and y'all have a roof to fix. I heard from this morning.
We had all that water last week. We had a few little roof leaks, and then this morning we came in and the part of the roof came down. So,
well, we're going to head on out. Thanks for taking time to join us, and can't wait to talk about the meeting next week. Until next time.
Sounds great. I'll be happy to give you a recap.
Yep. I'm David with Bolivar Live. Y'all have a great day, great week. Come see us. God bless, and bye-bye.